In this video, I'm going to talk about the specifics of converting from polar to Cartesian coordinate systems. In the previous video, we explained where this figure came from. And so what we're going to do is, in this video, is just show you briefly how, using this diagram, you can come up with these formulas here that are necessary for changing from polar to Cartesian coordinate systems. Okay, and so this direction to me is the easier one to deal with, changing from polar to Cartesian coordinate systems. Remember, we talked about that polar coordinate representations of points are not unique. And so going the opposite direction, you're going from something that's unique to something that's not unique. There's going to be some choices involved. But here, Cartesian coordinate systems are unique, so you don't really have a lot of choices to make in this one. Okay, so just to talk briefly about where these come from, these just come from a little triangle trig using this diagram that I showed you about when we talked about the relationship between polar and Cartesian coordinate systems. Okay, so starting with this triangle right here, what you want to do is to look at the angle theta right here and just use a little triangle trig, right? So looking at the cosine of theta on this one, cosine in terms of triangle trig, right, is adjacent over opposite, or hypotenuse rather, sorry. Okay, so here's what we get, right? The cosine of theta, the adjacent side would be x, right, for theta, and the hypotenuse of this triangle is r. So if you can see, then we just multiply both sides of this by r, and we wind up with that formula there. Cosine theta equals x. Okay, and similarly for this one, right, all we have to do is think about the sine, right? The sine is opposite over hypotenuse, right? So opposite would be, for theta, would be y, and hypotenuse would be r, right, for this triangle right here. And then we just did like we did before and multiply both sides by r. So we have r sine theta. And on this side, when we multiply by r, we just wind up with y, and that's it. Okay, so these are the two that you need. If you're given a polar coordinate, you'll know what r and theta are, right? And so to calculate the x value, just put it in here, and calculate the y value, just put it in there, and that's it. Okay. All right. In the next video, we will do an example of how to switch.